Okay, back to it. Uh, so didn't do much since the last recording. I did do one minor thing is went to the source file for the switch, and I just added a body surface body that's the size of the recommended cutout. So I'm going to use that to make the cutout for the switch. Just going to convert the two on the side, and then I can draw on the other two because it's hard to actually see those other two. Alright, and since it's kind of a small spot, just want to confirm that there's at least some material left over here. So, a little bit under what I'd ideally like, but I think it should be okay given the location. All the weight of the everything is going to be basically on these two. These are more for locking it together, so I'm not too concerned about that. I think it should hold. And I'll get rid of that body because I don't need it anymore. Alright. So, I don't remember if I ever made a hole for this to come through. I don't think I did. Right. Yeah, there's no hole there. So that's... Go ahead and put a hole through. Right. And then what else do we need? So we need power to come in. And I was thinking if it was like the power cord I had before, it had two separate leads that could have been divided. I could have made like one hole here, one hole there, and made it symmetrical. But a lot of power cords are just they're basically one outer covering with two covered wires inside of it, and dividing that up before it goes in is not ideal. It wouldn't look very good and kind of dangerous. Not really dangerous, but it would look dangerous. So that means I need to think of something else. I could either put it in through here and route it back down, but that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense considering the setup here. Put it in one of the end pieces, but then it's very far from symmetrical. So as much as I don't really like to do it, I think I'm going to put it like right here. It'll be a little bit off of symmetrical, but it'll still be good enough. I'm going to put in a couple variables because I haven't selected the actual chord I want yet. So P chord wide, let's call it, I don't know, maybe 10 millimeters. You can always change it later. And good enough. We can change that later, of course. And I'm just going to put in a rectangle for now to get those dimensions down. Alright. I'm going to offset. Doesn't matter really by how much because I'm going to change it here. And let me start locking it down. And if I can, I'd like it to be as centered as possible, even though it's not symmetrical. I can at least make it sort of centered. And This is midpoint. And that is also midpoint. I didn't want that to be midpoint. I wanted that to be coincident. There we go. All right. And this was actually all for construction because I'm going to use a slot. All right. All right. So now we got a hole there. Can adjust it with variables nice and easy. So power's coming in here. The neutral lead gets spliced, goes into the lamp. The hot lead goes through the switch, goes into the lamp. We've got a base plate that can go on. So yeah, this whole assembly here, this whole bottom section, including the base plate, kind of go together. Just trying to think of how this all ends up working together. So yeah, I think that should be okay. So there's nothing connecting this to this other than friction, but there's a whole lot of little feet, and all together, especially once once the moisture from the air gets in it and temperature changing and all that. This is basically going to be a interference fit, so it should be nice and strong. Same with these that go through the whole surround for the light fixture. It's going to be basically it's probably going to be pretty hard to get that through. And then once, like I said, once moisture gets into the wood and all that stuff, it'll be a interference fit, and it basically you'll have to actually break the wood to get it apart, even without any glue involved. Up here and at the bottom, these are less of an interference fit just because there's fewer of them and they're not as far apart. But they're still going to be pretty solid. I had been thinking maybe I'd extend this up and like have it do a loop through, but I don't think that it's going to actually provide any advantage by doing that. And at this point, I'm just trying to think of what else still needs to be done. Because I'm not seeing anything offhand. And if that's the case, then I basically just have to start laying this out and doing the kerf and the flat layout. And then I have to actually make one, make sure it works, and then possibly have revisions from there. But yeah, I guess I should have made this part of the last video, but oh well. So yeah, that's basically the design done, I believe. I'm still gonna look over it a few more times, and maybe I'll think of something else that needs doing. Could do a interference check real quick though, just because. I'm sure I'll get some interferences here. But we'll see how much of a interference I get. Okay, did the interference check. Everything looked good, but while I was sitting there waiting on it, I was just looking at this, and I have issues with it. Basically, I want to just kind of close up these fingers, so this will press on there, and then they'll all press in together as one unit. Well, they already have to do that, but like I said, I want to close it up. So, yeah. Start with there. And I believe, yeah, the first tooth is there. Make it safe distance. And gonna have to fill in those because there's no, I don't want it to be chamfered anymore. Probably go back and actually manually get rid of all these chamfers when they first created, but I can also do this. And this is probably easier than trying to find them. So that's fully defined. Then I'm just going to make all this work instruction and bring these back. And then I'll just draw in the last lines. And okay, I can extrude that. So I need to hide this so I can see the other side. Extrude this up to here and merge it. And how do I like that? I don't. So we'll modify that again. So what if instead it started from here, went to there, like that, and we'll make this 45 degrees. How does this one look? Yeah, I like that better. So I'm going to reuse that same sketch. But this time I'm going to start from this surface, going to this surface, and just on that. Alright. Do a, actually I'm going to delete the unwanted extra bodies first, and then I'll do the pattern. Saves us a little bit of searching around later. So circular pattern, do a 3, already set. These two bodies, okay. And good. So now, let's see. We can kind of put all these 6 pieces together on a table, just sitting how they are. Then no, I'd have to put each of these 3 sections together. So 1, 2, 3, do it again and again. And then I could put this plate into one of them, and then slide this one on, and then slide this on. And at that point, I could slide in the switch, and I could slide in the power cord that I lost. So I need to find that again. This. So I want to bring this all the way down. And yep, it's going to give me an error. That's fine. Just need to make a couple modifications and it'll be good. So I'm going to go to display, delete relations, and just delete the 3 yellows. And let's see. So that'll be, okay. So this doesn't really matter where that comes from. And we can just use that. And we can use perpendicular to that. And from there, fully defined. It's going to give me an error again, because it doesn't know the face that it's on. That's fine. I want to be on that face. Probably give me another error. Or it's still erroring. So I'm just going to go up to next and only on this one. Okay, so that's repaired. All right, so yeah. Slide the switch in, slide the power cord in, wire them all up, put the socket holder into this piece here, run the wires through, connect all the wires. There's going to be plenty of slack at that point, and I can just kind of shove the extra slack down this end or this end, and then I can just push this up onto there. And in theory, it should be basically just a press fit at that point. Then the next step is I need to push these 9 side pieces down into there, at which point I can then also push this down onto the 9, and then it's a whole bunch of running twine, which will secure the diffuser plates, which originally were changed a different color, and something didn't quite go right, so I'm just going to remove all the colors, and if I want colors, I'll have to add them back in. But yeah, that's pretty much designed. I still need to do the curve and the flat layout, but I've already shown that in previous videos it'd be virtually identical to what I did then, and frankly, it probably make for some pretty boring YouTube, even by the standard of my channel. So I'm going to call this this done. Maybe make one more video on the subject, just you know, a video of it being laser cut or something like that, or a quick shot once it's assembled. And if I assemble it and decide it's got some horrible flaw that I want to fix, there'll be more videos. But otherwise, I'll have to think of a new project for coming up. I had some thoughts. I was thinking about possibly designing a really crazy huge laser cutter. That was one. Downside with that, aside from the pure cost of actually building it to make a prototype, would be that I don't have room to build it. The second would be a 3-material Delta 3D printer. I've already got a Delta that I like. It's a pretty cheap unit, but it's been modified to work pretty well. But it's only one material, so I'd like to have support material make more complex shapes. And yeah, basically I'm just looking for things to put on the channel, kind of show people how to do SolidWorks. And this laser cutting stuff is fun and stuff. It's art, or at least it's my idea of art. But it has the downside of it's just so incredibly parametric and interconnected that using an assembly is a nightmare. And plus, it's not that complicated, so it doesn't need assembly. Whereas an actual machine like a laser cutter, the 3D printer, or who knows what else I might come up with, or someone else might recommend, something like that, I really need to go into assembly and actually show you how to use SolidWorks uh, properly, like you would at an actual paying job. So yeah, if you got any ideas, feel free to comment. Otherwise, see you next time.